Hi, good afternoon, Midland ISD. Hope you had a great weekend. You had a chance to get out in the great weather we had and enjoy the outdoors safely with your kids, with your families, with yourself, with however you wanted to do that. So I'm so glad that we had such great weather, and we're looking forward to another week of learning here in Midland ISD. So I want to talk about a couple of things that came out today from Austin, from Governor Abbott. While schools still remain closed across the state of Texas, he gave a press conference a little while ago and discussed his plans for reopening the economy, which is really exciting as we look forward to that. So in that press conference, he outlined a two-phase approach to reopening the economy. And so I'm going to just kind of hit the highlights there because I know these are things that are really exciting for us. So starting Friday, he mentioned that museums, libraries, movie theaters, malls, and restaurants are allowed to reopen at 25% of their licensed building capacity. I know that's something we all have been looking forward to, and that's something that will be exciting to see coming up in the near future. Then he mentioned if there's not a rise in cases at that point in time, phase 2 would start May 18th. And at that time, those businesses that I just listed would be allowed to expand up to 50% of their capacity. So this is exciting news, and I know stuff that we've been looking forward to. He also mentioned that licensed healthcare professionals, sole proprietor businesses could return to work. So this is exciting news, I know indeed, for all of us. He was clear about outdoor sports, and I know this is a great time to be thinking about that. And I know if you're like my son, he's excited about sports and things of that nature, loves that. He said outdoor sports could resume, but only up to 4 people at a time. So I know that we're all anxious to get out and socialize, but please be mindful of his executive order as we're moving forward with this with these new exciting opportunities. He mentioned several times, though, although we're opening up the economy gradually and moving forward with that, he wants us to still be vigilant in terms of our social distancing, including wearing masks, gloves, things of that nature, taking those precautions that we know are important that have been recommended through the CDC. He made sure to reemphasize the vigilance of observing these recommendations. They're going to be really important in making the difference of whether we can reopen quickly or whether this is going to become a more drawn-out process. And so we really hope the work that everyone's been doing across the state, across our city, to really flatten the curve has really done its work. And so we're really excited to see how this will be able to move forward in the future. In his press conference, though, he did not share any new guidance about schools, and so schools still remain closed through the end of the school year, and so we're not changed in that way. So we're continuing as we have been. So as we move ahead with our plans for graduation celebrations, I know we've had some information on that coming out last week. Mr. Riddick went into more detail on Friday about that. We know that we have to move into an alternative sort of situation with our graduation celebrations, but we want that and other opportunities for our students, for our graduates. And so we're taking consideration a number of opportunities. I do want to remind those of you all, and if you have not heard, let you all know that we have stood up on our midlandisd.net/seniors2020 page a survey where you can fill out some ideas and share some feedback with us about what you would like to see in addition to an alternative graduation opportunity. But what else can we do? Because we know this has been such an unusual situation for our seniors. We want to do everything possible that we can possibly do. And we know that times certainly change quite rapidly, and so we want to make sure that we're providing some opportunities as time goes on. So please, if you have not filled out that survey and given us your feedback, please utilize that platform to do that. It will certainly take that in consideration and see, you know, what all these recommendations are and who's available at certain different times and who would be interested in various opportunities. So we're looking at, of course, as we've mentioned, a non-traditional graduation ceremony, that and many other opportunities that are shared throughout our district. So as we move forward this, I want to assure you that as we're taking consideration, you know, the continued guidance through the CDC, what Governor Abbott's executive orders have been, we want to make sure that we are doing our part in Midland ISD to slow the spread of COVID-19. We want to be a part of the solution, do not want to contribute to the problem. So in addition to our schools being closed right now, we are making many taking precautions with our staff when they do have to come into work. Now, our teachers are not coming into the building again to teach students because we are closed, but we are gradually working through some processes for our teachers to be able to come up, collect their materials, for students to be able to come to the campuses and collect their materials in a very methodical, well thought out, thoughtful way that really mitigates the spread of COVID-19. So we continue to emphasize hand washing. I mean, they continue to tell us this over and over, and that's a very basic thing. Hand washing, continuing to make sure that hand sanitizer is available, making sure that when our staff is on site, that masks are available or they bring their cloth ones. I know there's so many people taking those precautions. I'm really encouraged to see that when I go into a grocery store, when I see people throughout, that they're doing their part and listening to what the CDC guidance has been. We also make sure that our staff, and we ask that any of our staff coming into buildings, you know, at the discretion of principals, of course, are we're vetting those staff, making sure that everyone feels well. If anyone does not feel well, they don't need to be coming in for any reason at all. And I know that the same goes with, you know, just going out in public. If we're not feeling well, we don't want to go out at all because we want to make sure that we're not contributing to the spread of this. But it's very exciting to see our economy gradually starting to open and what that could possibly lead to and mean. I also want to share, I know there's been a lot of questions about pre-K enrollment. A lot of you have been asking about that, and we've been working diligently to make sure that that's something that we can provide. We are moving that into an online platform, and we're going to have more information about that soon. I know every time we come on here, we're going to have more information soon, but I can tell you that there's going to be a component that is online. We do have some assessments, though, that our pre-K students do undergo, and as we've looked into some of the advice of the publishers, we want to make sure that we are implementing those assessments with fidelity. And so some of those do require, they don't allow for an online opportunity. So we're working through what those pieces do look like when it comes to enrollment and registration. But we will be having more information on that very, very soon. We'll be sending that out through a number of ways, through our social media posts, through our website, because I know that is something that we are working towards, and we want to make sure that we are getting to you all as soon as possible. We don't really have any new changes between last Friday and then today, Monday. I know that we're now kind of in a situation where we have our students and they're in their classes, they're working through that the very best way they possibly can. And again, thank you parents for doing double, triple, quadruple duty. I know, and being a teacher and being, working your regular job, working from home in your regular job, I know it is, as a parent myself, it is not easy to do that, but you're making it happen and you're working hard for your kids, and we want to be there to be able to support you all. So with that right now, I'm going to check through our chat and see what questions have come through. And I want to make sure that we're able to address those. So I'm going to scroll through here. This is the easiest way to do that. Yes, I know people are out being very, very cautious with a number of the openings, and that's that's one thing that he did mention. We wanted to have this gradual opening of our economy, and we don't want to everyone rush out. We want to be cautious, so it's this cautious optimism that we have at this point in time. I know. Yeah, the masks, that's an interesting thing. I put one on my son the other day, and it was a little interesting for him as well. Out in the heat wearing the masks. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit interesting here. Okay. Yes, please share your like I mentioned earlier, share your graduation ideas. We have, we mentioned an alternative graduation opportunity, and that's going to be shared out through your campuses very, very soon. But we're looking for that and everything else that we can do for our graduates. So midlandisd.net/seniors2020 is the place to go and provide that information. We are looking at that information. We are looking how we can possibly utilize all those pieces and make sure that we're providing something really, really special for our kiddos, because they are working towards next year. Yes. So, clarification. So there's a question here. Governor Abbott did say teachers can go back into their classroom. Why is Midland ISD not letting teachers go to their classroom? So I do want to let y'all know we are working on that plan, and our campus principals right now are working on those plans to let those teachers back into their classrooms to close out for the end of the year. When we left at spring break, it was in the middle of spring break and in the middle of the semester, and so it was really left kind of in a lurch. And so we realized there are a number of things that teachers do need to go back and tie up. So we do need to make sure that there is a plan in place, that we're continuing to do that social distancing. So yes, campuses will be able to come up, and principals are working on those plans right now in conjunction with our health services and with their campus executive directors, with looking through it through a number of lenses, because we need to make sure that it is well thought out. It's something that will still keep people safe. We want to make sure that all the hard work people have been doing at this time to really flatten the curve, make sure that as we come back together, we're doing it in a very safe manner. Okay. All right. Just continuing to scroll. Okay, so great information here, people. I know people have asked some questions, and thank you for those of you who jump on it and answer those questions as well. So that's great feedback to provide that. There's a question here about pre-K. Again, pre-K information, we will be standing that up very, very soon. We will have it in electronic format. There is going to be possibly some parts that will have to be done in a little bit of a different way. So we're going to work through again what some of those assessments look like in conjunction with recommendations from the publishers, so that we're not invalidating those assessments, but moving forward and still registering our pre-K students. So that information, I know every time we're on here, there's more to come, but I will tell you we're very, very close to getting that solidified. We have a team working really hard to make sure that is something that we can provide to you all and move forward with. So we continue to check the chat, see if there are any questions coming through here. Again, not a whole lot of changes in Midland ISD right now, which is kind of nice to be in that place where we're, not necessarily changing, but we're moving towards some really exciting opportunities with our economy opening up, with gradually that cautious optimism. Thank you all for tuning in to here and answering questions, asking questions, staying plugged in. We certainly appreciate everything that you all are doing for your students and for our staff. The encouragement you're providing our staff is just amazing. It's so great to see on here sometimes, having those shout outs to our campuses and the great work that they're doing, our CNS workers, our transportation, pushing out that Wi-Fi, and continuing to do that. And I do want to reiterate, if there's something that you have questions about, please reach out to your campus administrators, your teachers. The teacher is the first person to come to when you have a question about your child's schooling or anything of that nature. They know the most about that particular situation. They know your child from before, and so they're standing at the ready. So we are on fire to support them, and we really look forward to seeing them when we come back next semester and moving into that platform. So with that, I think we've addressed all the questions on the chat. Thank you for tuning in. Next week we will be, or not next week, on Wednesday, we'll be back here on Wednesday with Haka Chin, and also in Spanish. So we want to make sure that we're plugging into those communities as well and everyone's getting some information. And then Friday we'll be back with our Facebook Live with Mr. Riddick in English, and we'll talk about what's happened in Midland ISD throughout the week. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great week. I know it's going to get hot. It's going to be in the hundreds, you know, so we're finally, it's almost like, okay, here we are in summer. Just we're going to reiterate that May is the month to move. I know that was something that Mr. Riddick shared last week, and you know, take advantage of that when your kids are, you know, they're in there, they're working. It changes everything when you can get out and just get a little bit of exercise, go for that bike ride, go for that walk, socially distance, of course, but you know, do those things that really just put a smile on your face, because that's you know, that makes all the difference. Thanks for all you do. Have a great day, and I'm going to go ahead and sign out. Have a good one.